Hello, everyone, and welcome. I'm really glad you decided to join us today. We are going to be talking about the Witch's Pyramid in just a little bit. If this is your first time here, I want to let you know how excited I am that you're here joining us today, and that I hope you find our casual environment comfortable. I want you to feel free to chat in the chat room, get to know everybody in our community, get to know each other. And by all means, I would love to get to know a little bit more about you as well and how I can serve you. So, welcome, 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 welcome. Let's take a moment now, as we always do, to invite the mother to join us and bless our time together. So, if you'll join me. O great goddess, lady of the night and the silvery moon, she whom is the darkness and the light that shines through it, hail to thee, great lady of the moon, and hear us, your children, as we come to partake of the great beauty, strength, and wisdom that lies within each and every one of us here. Blessed be. So today's reading from the Book of One, which is the book I wrote with Annabelle Montalbano many years ago, quite honestly, is called Beyond. The chapter is chapter 12, and it's called Beyond Perception. See through the veil of lies. Go beyond what is evident. There you shall find truth. Accept what is only physically evident, and you will lose sight of what is truth. Truth being one being all being one. And on that note, let's take a moment to ground ourselves and do a short minute meditation. So if you'll join me in closing your eyes, taking a deep breath in, pause and exhale. Just allow yourself to relax and contemplate the words of the passage I just read, or just bring yourself to this moment. Take a deep breath in. Breathing in, I am calm. Breathing out, I am in peace. Blessed be. So, as I said, today I wanted to talk about the Witch's Pyramid. The Witch's Pyramid is, how shall I say? Well, it's one of my favorite, how shall we say, philosophical, um, yeah, one of my favorite philosophies in witchcraft. But did you know that the witch's pyramid is not necessarily a witch's philosophy? It was borrowed later on down the line. The witch's pyramid was actually written. And actually, before I go any further, let me just add a footnote here to say that my research and some of my talking points in today's talk are from Jason Mankey on an article he wrote at Pathos, which is one of my favorite websites. So let me just say again that the Witch's Pyramid is a magical philosophy that actually predates modern witchcraft. It was articulated by the French occultist and magician, anybody know? Eliphas Levi. In his book, Transcendental Magic, Its Doctrine and Ritual. He said, to attain the sanctum regnum, in other words, the knowledge and power of the Magi, there are four indispensable conditions: an intelligence illuminated by study, an intrepidity that nothing can check, a will which cannot be broken, and a prudence which is nothing can corrupt or intoxicate. That's a pretty high calling and a high bar. And those words are to know, to dare, to will, to keep silent. Such are the four words of the magus. To be a magician, one must know one's craft and study, and be fearless in that study, afraid of nothing that it might reveal. This requires an iron constitution and a deep inner strength, along with a sense of judgment unhindered by outside forces. So, if you heard the reading I did at the beginning from the Book of One, I picked that one in particular because it talks about truth. And the emissaries of light, when they gave me that information, they went on to say, if you go further into the chapter, they go on to say that truth attained, from external sources are really other people's opinions, judgments, and speculations. So I appreciate that in this philosophy that we're covering today, that Levy said, along with a sense of judgment unhindered by outside forces. So the truth lies, well, not on the outside, but within. But I think most of you who watch me regularly already know that. The Lady Sheba's Book of Shadows is what kind of brought it into the world of modern witchcraft. And she describes it as the first side of the four so-called sides of the pyramid is your dynamic, controlled will. The second, your imagine or the ability to see your desire accomplished. The third, unshakable and absolute faith in your ability to accomplish anything you desire. And fourth, secrecy. Power shared is power lost. So we're going to go through each of these, hopefully in the next few minutes. So let's start with to know. Now, what I love about doing like a little research and getting a little talking points when I'm going to do a weekly talk with you is it goes to show you that what I've said for many, 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 many years now is that what you learn in the books is only half of the truth. I always say you have to learn to read between the lines when you're studying metaphysics, magic, witchcraft, manifestation work, etc., etc. So I love when they actually do align, and some of the stuff does align with what I will put in my 2 cents worth, of course. But let's start with to know. Now, there are many different types of knowing. Uh, this makes the first lesson of the pyramid open to several interpretations. As witches and magicians and wizards, we should obviously possess a degree of book knowledge and understanding of how our practices work, but knowing is a continual process, again, leading into the knowing within versus the linear, logical, book learning, parroting information knowing. Yes, I know the words in that book, but do I know in my soul, in my spirit, what they mean? I happen to use this formula when I'm cultivating and writing a magical ritual dealing with creating a spell of some sort. If I'm doing a spell and I'm going to make a ritual out of it, usually the to know, to dare, to will, and to keep silent will kind of be a loose outline. So besides applying this as a philosophy to strive for and to elevate our consciousness to, this can also be loosely interpreted as an outline when you're writing your spell or your intention, as we'll be doing today, another intention. So to know what you truly need, to know what you truly want. In order to know, we must know who we are. To know where that inkling and that desire is coming from. Is my desire for, let's say, the spell for a new car? I always use these car ones because I just got one from a spell. And is it out of necessity? Is it something that I really needed? Was it something, was I being greedy? And, all of these questions we have to ask ourselves. Do we know it's coming from a good place? Do we know that it won't harm anyone in the way that it comes? The manifestation process won't harm anybody. So to know can mean those things when it comes to cultivating and writing a spell. But also knowing is about what's inside of us. Answers exist both within ourselves and outside of ourselves. Creative visualization, the ability to see what we want in our mind's eye, is one of magic's foundations. To know is often associated with the element of air. So, for example, for today's manifestation intention / spell, I kind of decided I was gonna go a little bit huge, like a big, big intention. And I was like, well, how would I be able to visualize that? How do I know what it feels like to have that manifest within my life? So it's important for me to be able to visualize it so I could attain it. If we can't really visualize it, if we can't really know what it is and what it feels like, we're not necessarily may not be as successful in our working as well as in our life path. This all could just be applied simply to our life's path. It doesn't even have to be magical or metaphysical or a spell. These are just some great foundations as well in our day-to-day lives. So the next side of the pyramid is to dare. Now, this one's one of my favorites because me and many authors and teachers and whatnot out there may not always see eye to eye on this. Magic is often uncomfortable. We might create the cone of power to the point of exhaustion. For many of us, simply finding witchcraft required a giant leap of faith. To be a witch is to dare to be different, to live a life that's different from one spent in the throngs of mundanea. To be a witch, we walk in the footsteps of the goddess and expose ourselves to things greater than us humans takes courage, but witches dare to do such things. For me, to dare comes from a place of daring to align with my greater self, my higher self, the inner highest level magician within me, and daring to allow that energy to be raised, and having the courage to admit what it is that I want, and not only that, having to have the courage to know that I have that power within me. A lot of times when our spells go wrong or our life goes wrong, it comes from a lack of confidence. And when I'm working with clients or tutoring or teaching or whatnot, I try to remind everyone that confidence, inner confidence, is a form of courage. And daring to be confident, harm none, do what you will, is also a dare that we must get comfortable with. You know, fear is a part of life. Fear and security is a part of life, but courage is still doing it even though we're afraid or even though it could be overwhelming. Now, to move it into a metaphysical and magical field, to dare to learn, quote unquote, the secrets of the cosmos, to understand the secrets of life itself and how the universe is comprised and whatnot, is a huge undertaking. And you'll find that many of us teachers, high priests, high priestesses, maguses, etc., will usually try to dissuade an initiate or a student because of the fact that once we know this knowledge, there's no going back. Once you have crossed that threshold, the Hermes Trismegistus, I think, talks about it as well. Do not enter if you do, because there is no turning back. Once you get the information, there is no way of turning back. So that also has to do with the dare. And then on a spell, on a mundane spell level, to me, the dare is daring to put that spell together, daring to, write the words, visualize, what it is that we need to, and creating the steps, cutting the herbs, lighting the candles. To me, that's the daring, that's the courage. As well, the mantra to dare is also associated with the element of water, the element of death and initiation. Death and initiation are both journeys into the unknown, and rites of passage require bravery and daring, which kind of sums up what I was just talking about. So let's move on to will. Will with a capital W. I always try to remind myself and those who I speak to about this. Our will is about overcoming roadblocks, getting around obstacles, and obstacles that stand in the way of our goals. So for me, that is the lowercase will. The lowercase will is the one that says, I can do it, and no matter how much you get knocked down, you're getting back up. And that is a formidable power to have. However, to will is also aligning your will with the will of your higher self, your inner grand magus, the wise, the wisdom counsel within your higher self, the will of your soul, if you want to call it that, your spirit, the will of the universe. That can also be considered the will. And I use that with a capital W versus the lowercase w. The lowercase w, the will, doesn't mean we're always going to be able to solve every problem. Sometimes we have to align with the will of the universe and the will of our spiritual path. But we are all about manifestation, intention, and having the power to create the lives that is best suited for our spiritual, mental, and physical growth and the love of the people around us. most of the time. So the will is usually associated with the element of fire, the transformative nature of the element of fire. And I just want to make sure I'm not missing anything. I thought I wrote down something else. Oh, no. Okay. And just to close out the will is what manifests magical change, focusing our will. So we talked a little bit last week or 2 weeks ago about thought forms. So thought forms are that will condensed and concentrated into an energy form. When we're doing the intention slash spell in a few minutes, your visualization, you're adding your will into that. So you're concentrating your will, your focus, and all of that in order to release it to the universe to complete your spell and your intention. And then lastly, to be silent is the last side of the witch's pyramid. I was taught that to be silent meant do not share your spell with somebody else. Different traditions are going to say, to be silent means never talk that you're a witch, never tell anyone you're a wizard, never tell anyone you're a magician, all the secrecy involved and a lot of these sisterhoods and brotherhoods and magical orders and whatnot. We've come a long way. We're not living in the 17th, 18th centuries anymore. We don't necessarily have to hide it. So to me, to be silent is really a matter of where you are in your life, who you work for, who your family are. If you're living in a Pentecostal home, I doubt you want to talk about witchcraft. So that is a case by case scenario as far as that. But with that said, I will say the to keep silent aspect is also about never ever outing another witch, wizard, or practitioner to someone that they don't want to be outed to. It's their business. So to be silent means knowing when to be silent and respecting the need to be silent if others are not out of the broom closet, for lack of a better term. But I think most importantly, to be silent works on the spiritual level, the emotional level, and the physical level after you have done a magical working. For example, if we do this working today, when I'm done here, we're going to do a little intention spell. It's best to leave it alone. Yes, you can feed it positive energy if you want to, some spells call for candles to be lit every day to keep feeding it energy. But I don't feel it's safe to harp on it too much. Again, case by case scenario. If let's say we do it, we're confident, we so will it, so mote it be, it's done. It's done. Depending on the type of spell. But if we keep thinking about it like, oh my God, did I do it right? Oh my goodness, it's not going to work. So be silent also means to be silent in your mind's language, your mind's dialogue, your mental dialogue, as well, not to tell other people. One of the greatest common things I see baby witches and young witches and fledgling witches and newly, new practitioners is they love to show off what they've done. Oh, well, I just did a spell for this and I just did a spell for that. And I'm like, well, guess what? Your arrogance is pissing off the people that you're telling it to. And because of that, they're going to send negative energy to say, oh my God, this person's a moron. Why are they telling me this? I don't need to hear this. So you don't need to tell other people. There's no need to tell other people. And I highly recommend against it. Is it within your coven? Sure, of course, you're going to be doing the spell with them. Is it within your trusted friends that know that you're a practitioner and you want to bounce ideas off of them? That's fine too. But don't brag about your spell because you will get negative energy thrown at you. And that may counteract and interfere with the energy of the spell manifesting. And with that being said, the to keep silent aspect of the witch's pyramid is associated with the element of earth. So to review ever so quickly, we have to know what you want, to know who you are, to know the knowledge, to know what you're doing with the knowledge, to dare, to have the courage, to have the have the courage to do it. To will, to focus the energy, to have the will to change your life, to change the flow of energy, and then, of course, to keep silent. And like I said, these can be used in just day to day life as a very helpful philosophy to live by as well. I know practitioners that use this as their spiritual practice. They practice cultivating their all of these within their daily practice and meditation and whatnot. I did many years ago. I went through that, and maybe I need to do it again, which is why I was called to have today's topic be that. But it's always good to go back and review the work that you've done. So, with that being said, let's go ahead and prepare for our intention now. So, knowing everything that you know, and hopefully you've watched me talk about intentions and spells over the last several weeks, years, months, whatever it may be, what I'd like you to do is to think about what it is that you would like to bring into your life. It could be big, it could be small. But again, the important thing is for you to be able to visualize it. So the focus is going to be on a short phrase that you're going to create. For example, I am driving a new car. Again, just an example. I am. Not I'm going to, not next year, not I want. No, I am. Keep the phrase as present. I am driving a new car, or fill in the blank. So keep it short and keep it present. I'll give you a few moments to do that if you want to go ahead and close your eyes like I am as I cultivate my wording. Take a deep breath. What is it that you would like to bring into your life? Okay. Well, hopefully you have a short phrase already, and I'd like you to continue to repeat that phrase as I speak. Repeat that phrase in your mind, taking a deep breath in and exhale. Take a deep breath in and exhale. And now repeating that phrase over and over in your mind, allow the image of what that looked like to appear. Visualize the goal. You're creating a thought form of what it is you're bringing into your life. Build that thought form while you repeat your phrase. Once that visualization becomes clearer, I want you to feel what it's like. How do you feel now that it's there? Now that you have accomplished it and it is a part of your life? Feel the joy, feel the relief, and feel the gratitude. How grateful you are that you now have it in your life. See yourself in that scene. Repeating the phrase over and over in your mind. Let's take a few deep breaths. One more deep, deep breath. And as I do will it, so mote it be. Blessed be, and congratulations. Good job. Very good job. So, next week, I'm happy to say I have a very interesting topic, and I will be having a guest join me for part of the show. I do have Claire Goldsberry joining me, and we're going to be talking about the illusion of life and death. Something that I feel many of us in the West take very, very overly serious. Death can be so scary to us here in the West, and those of us who know it's just a transition and an illusion. So we will be talking to her about that. She actually has a book called "The Illusion of Life and Death." But let me go ahead and I want to head over to the chat room and say hello to some of you. I see Edward over on YouTube. Hello, Edward. Thanks for joining us. I see E. Lewis on YouTube saying hello, and hello, Shelly on Facebook. Hi, Sandra on Facebook. And Vivi, welcome. You're new to this virtual. Oh, you're sending virtual hug. Well, back at you. Thank you. Freya is joining us on Facebook. Burning Spirit Light is over on YouTube. Wonderful. Yes, the element of fire is quite transformative. That's a good one to work with, definitely. Um, excellent. Excellent. So I'm so glad you're all here, and I'm so glad you're joining us every week now. I hope you're enjoying the new show format with our meditations and our spells and our regular, I guess you call it weekly format, for lack of a better term. I did take last Thursday off for the holiday here in the United States. For those of you that did have celebrate the holiday, I hope you had a great time. It was probably the best Thanksgiving I've had in 25 years. I don't know why, just kind of all fell together, and it was really great. I had a couple of my family, my local family here, so I hope you all had a good time as well. Just to give you a heads up, the holidays are coming, so I might as well get my schedule out of the way. I am not going to be doing a show on the last week of the year. That's New Year's week. However, guess what? The solstice falls on a Tuesday. So the solstice. So we will be doing the full winter solstice ceremony on the 21st. It looks like. And again, before that next week, we do have Claire joining us for the illusion of life and death. So thank you all for joining me today. And let's do our closing prayer before we go. Take a deep breath and join me. Be gone from me, worry and woe. I have the strength to break free and the wisdom to know. As I breathe in this sacred day, my calm will grow. I call upon my inner guides to help me take it slow. My serenity and tranquility will overflow with harm to none, blessings to all. So mote it be, blessed be. I love you. Have a great week, and I can't wait to see you next week. Bye-bye.